The voice crying in our garage wasn't coming from outside the house. It was calling from inside the walls. The house on Willow Creek Drive, Ashford, Oregon had always felt wrong. Not in an obvious way, not like broken windows or creaking doors. It was quieter than it should have been. The kind of terrifying silence that presses against your ears, like something is listening back. Emily Carter, a 32-year-old single mother, had moved there with her 10-year-old daughter, Lily, and their German Shepherd, Max. They needed a fresh start. What they got was something else. That evening, the sky outside was dim and gray, the kind of cold evening where the wind whispered through trees like distant voices. Emily stood in the garage, sorting through old boxes. "Lily," she called, her voice calm but tired. "Stay here, okay? I'll grab your noodles from inside." Lily nodded, sitting cross-legged on the cold concrete floor, playing with Max's collar. "Don't go outside," Emily added. "I won't," Lily replied softly. The garage door was half open. A thin strip of pale light stretched across the floor like a blade. And then, Emily walked inside. The moment she disappeared, everything changed. At first, it was nothing, just the faint hum of silence. Then, a sound. A low, broken sob. Lily froze. Her small fingers tightened around the collar. "Mom," she whispered. No answer. The crying came again. Closer this time. Wet. Shaky. Like someone choking on their own tears. Lily slowly turned her head toward the garage entrance. The outside was empty. Just the pale driveway and still air. But the crying didn't stop. It shifted. From outside to right behind her. Her breath caught. Max suddenly stood up, his ears stiff, his body trembling. A deep growl vibrated from his chest. He wasn't looking outside. He was staring at the wall. The crying turned into laughing. A thin, stretched, unnatural laugh. Like a voice being pulled apart. Lily's eyes widened. "Mom," she whispered again, her voice shaking. The laugh grew louder. And then, a whisper, right next to her ear. "I've been here longer than you," Lily screamed. She stumbled backward, tears pouring down her face, her chest heaving as panic exploded inside her. Max began barking violently at the wall, scratching at it like something was trapped inside. "We're trying to get out." Emily rushed back into the garage. "What happened?" she gasped. Lily ran straight into her arms, shaking uncontrollably. "There's someone was crying," she stuttered. Emily looked around. Nothing, just the silent garage. Max was still barking, still staring at that same spot on the wall. Emily grabbed his collar, pulling him back. "Max, stop it." But he wouldn't. His body resisted. His eyes locked. And then, suddenly, silence. Max stopped, mid-bark, like something had shut him off. The air turned cold, unnaturally cold. Lily clutched her mother tighter. "I don't like it here," she whispered. Emily forced a smile. "It's okay. You're safe." But even as she said it, she could feel it. That same heavy, suffocating presence. Watching them, from somewhere they couldn't see. That night, long after Lily had fallen asleep, Emily sat in the living room. The house was still, too still. And then, from down the hallway, she heard it. A soft, distant whistle. Slow, uneven, like someone learning how to breathe. Emily's heart skipped. "Lily," she called softly. No response. The whistle came again. This time, from Lily's room. Emily stood up. Every step toward the hallway felt heavier than the last. The darkness stretched unnaturally long. The air grew colder and colder. She reached Lily's door. It was slightly open, a thin line of darkness inside. The whistling stopped. Emily slowly pushed the door open. The room was quiet. Lily was sitting on the bed, facing the wall, completely still. "Lily," Emily whispered. No movement. And then Lily spoke. But the voice wasn't hers. "Why did you come back?" The room felt colder than the rest of the house. Not just cold dead, like the air had stopped moving entirely. Emily's throat went dry. "Lily, what did you just say?" No response. Her daughter remained seated on the bed, back turned, perfectly still. Max stood behind Emily in the doorway. But he wasn't barking this time. He was whining, soft, afraid, his tail tucked tightly between his legs. "Lily." Emily stepped forward slowly, her voice trembling now. "Turn around, honey." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, Lily's head tilted slightly. Too slowly, too wrong. And then she began to turn. Not her body, just her head. Emily's breath caught. "Lily, stop." But she didn't. The head kept turning. Further, further, until it shouldn't have been possible anymore. Then Lily stopped, her face now visible, but her eyes, they weren't normal. They looked empty, not blank, not sleepy, just gone. And then she smiled, a slow, unnatural stretch of lips, too wide, too deliberate. Max let out a sharp whimper and backed away. Emily felt her chest tighten. "Lily, you're scaring me." Lily's smile faded, and then her lips moved again. "He doesn't like when you interrupt." Emily froze. "Who?" Silence. Then suddenly, Lily collapsed forward, her body going limp, like a puppet with cut strings. "Lily!" Emily rushed forward, grabbing her. Her body was warm, breathing normal. Her eyes fluttered open, confused. "Mom!" Emily pulled her tightly into her arms. It's okay," but her own hands were shaking. Max started growling again. Low, deep, dangerous. Emily slowly turned her head toward the closet. The door was slightly open, a thin line of darkness inside, deeper than it should be. And then something moved. Just a shift, a distortion, like a shadow breathing. Emily's heart began pounding violently. She stood up slowly, holding Lily behind her. The closet door creaked, opening by itself. Inside, nothing, just darkness, too much darkness. And then, a whisper from inside it. "You left me alone." Emily grabbed Lily and ran out of the room. Max barked violently behind them. The hallway lights flickered, once, twice, then went out. Darkness swallowed everything. And in that pitch-black silence, they heard it again. Not crying, not laughing, breathing, slow, heavy, right behind them. Emily didn't dare turn around, because deep down, she already knew whatever was in the garage was no longer there. The darkness didn't feel empty anymore. It felt occupied. Emily stood frozen in the hallway, clutching Lily tightly against her chest. Her daughter's small fingers dug into her arm, trembling uncontrollably. "Mom," Lily whispered, her voice barely audible. "It's behind us." Emily shut her eyes for a second. Then she turned. Nothing, just darkness. But the feeling didn't leave. That suffocating pressure, like something standing inches away, watching them breathe. Max suddenly lunged forward into the darkness, barking violently. His claws scratched against the wooden floor as if he was trying to reach something just out of sight. "Max, stop!" Emily shouted. But he wouldn't. The hallway light flickered back on, and for a split second, Emily saw it. A tall, stretched shadow on the wall. Not human. Too thin. Too long. Its head slightly bent, as if it was studying them. And then it was gone. Emily's heart slammed against her chest. She grabbed Lily's hand and rushed into the living room. "We're leaving," she said, almost breathless. But the moment she reached the front door, it wouldn't open. She twisted the handle again. And again. Nothing. "It's stuck," she whispered. Behind them, a soft scratching sound echoed through the house. From inside the walls, Lily covered her ears. "Make it stop." The scratching grew louder. Moving. Traveling. Like something crawling inside the structure of the house itself. Max backed away slowly, his growl fading into a low whimper. He wasn't looking at the walls anymore. He was looking at the ceiling. Emily slowly looked up. At first, nothing. Then, a faint outline. Two dark shapes pressed against the ceiling. Like eyes. Watching. Blinking. Emily stumbled back, her breath breaking. No, no, the eyes shifted, following her. And then, they disappeared. The scratching stopped. Silence. A deep, unnatural silence. And then, a voice. Right behind Emily. "You can't leave." She spun around. Nothing. But Lily screamed. "It's there." Emily looked back at the wall, and this time, she saw it clearly. A figure, half-formed, pushing outward from the wall like something trapped beneath skin. Its face was distorted, mouth open too wide, eyes hollow, and it was smiling. Max charged at it, barking furiously. But the moment he got close, the wall went flat again. Gone. Emily grabbed Lily and ran toward the stairs. "We're going upstairs. Stay with me." Behind them, the sound returned. Not scratching. Running. Fast. Something was moving through the walls, chasing them. Upstairs. Emily slammed the bedroom door shut, locked it, pushed a chair against it. Her breathing was wild now. Lily was crying. Max stood near the door, growling low. And then, a slow, deliberate knock came from the other side. Knock. 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 Emily froze. Then a voice came. Soft. Broken. Mom. Open the door. Emily's blood ran cold. Because Lily was already in her arms. The knocking didn't stop. Knock, knock, knock. Each tap echoed through the room like something hitting directly inside Emily's skull. Lily buried her face into her mother's chest, shaking violently. Mom, that's not me, she whispered. I know, Emily said, her voice barely holding together. Max stood in front of the door now, completely still, not barking, not moving, just staring. The voice came again. Mom, please, it's cold. Emily's hands tightened around Lily. Her mind screamed at her to ignore it, to stay silent. But then, the door handle moved. Slowly, gently, as if someone on the other side was trying to come in politely. Emily stepped back. The chair in front of the door trembled slightly. And then, the voice changed. It wasn't Lily anymore. It became deeper, distorted, wet. You left me there. The temperature dropped instantly. A freezing wave swept across the room. Their breath became visible. Max suddenly began growling again, but not at the door. At Lily. Emily froze. What are you doing? Max's lips curled back, revealing his teeth. A deep, threatening growl rumbled from his chest. Lily slowly lifted her head. Her face was different, not fully changed, but something was off. Her eyes looked darker, too still, too aware. Mom, she said softly. But Emily didn't move, because she noticed something. Lily's shadow. It didn't match her movements. It was slightly delayed, and then it moved on its own. Emily gasped and stepped back. Lily's head tilted, too slowly, too sharply, and then she smiled. That same unnatural smile. Max lunged forward, but before he could reach her, the door burst open. The chair flew across the room. A violent force rushed inside. Lights flickered wildly, and in the chaos, Emily saw it. Standing in the doorway, tall, unnaturally thin, its arms too long, dragging slightly behind it. Its face wasn't stable. It kept shifting, changing, from Lily's face, to Emily's, to something else entirely. And then it stopped, locking its hollow eyes onto Emily. And it whispered, I only need one of you. Everything went silent. Then Max attacked. He leaped at the entity with a furious bark, and for a second, it actually reacted. Its form twisted violently, like smoke being torn apart. But then it turned and looked directly at Max. What happened next was too fast, too wrong. Max let out a sharp, painful cry, and then he was thrown across the room. He hit the wall with a sickening thud. Max, Lily screamed. Emily rushed toward him, but froze halfway. Because behind Max, the wall was moving again, bulging outward. Something inside it, trying to come out. The entity slowly stepped forward. Closer, closer. And Emily realized it wasn't here to scare them. It was here to replace one of them. If you're still listening, don't stop now. Because what happens next, no one survives it the same way. The room reeked of something rotten. Not a smell you could trace, but something that sat in your lungs. Emily stood frozen between her daughter and the thing that looked like her. Her mind screamed at her to move, but her body refused. The entity stepped closer. Its movements weren't natural. They were delayed, like it was learning how to exist. Lily clutched her mother's arm. Mom, it's copying me, she whispered, her voice breaking. And she was right. The thing tilted its head, exactly like Lily. It blinked, a second too late. Then it smiled. Too wide, too perfect. You don't need her anymore, it whispered. Emily shook her head violently. Stay back. The lights flickered again. The walls creaked. And then, every surface in the room began to breathe. The walls pulsed slowly. In, out, like the house itself was alive. Behind them, Max let out a weak, painful whimper. He was still alive. Barely. Emily's heart broke for a second, and that was enough. The entity moved. Fast. Too fast. It lunged forward, but instead of attacking, it stopped inches away from Emily. Its face shifted, melted, and then it became her. Perfectly. Same eyes, same face, same expression. Lily screamed, Mom, which one are you? Emily turned toward her daughter, but the question hung in the air. Heavy, terrifying, because even Emily felt it. Something was wrong. For a split second, she didn't recognize her own reflection in the entity. And then, the real horror hit her. It wasn't copying anymore. It was becoming. The second Emily stepped forward. Slow, calm, and spoke. You were never meant to stay here. The walls suddenly erupted with noise. Crying, laughing, whispering, dozens of voices, all overlapping, all desperate. Let us out. It hurts. Don't leave us. Lily covered her ears, screaming. Emily grabbed her and pulled her close. We're leaving. Now. She ran toward the window, tried to open it. It wouldn't move. Behind her, footsteps. Slow. Measured. The second Emily was walking closer, Max suddenly forced himself up, weak, shaking, but his eyes burned with rage. He placed himself between Lily and the entity. A low growl escaped him. The entity tilted its head again, studying him, and then it smiled. Animals always know. Max attacked. This time, the entity didn't dodge. It let him come, and the moment he touched it, everything went wrong. The room twisted. The walls stretched. The lights exploded into darkness. And in that chaos, Emily heard it. Max's final scream. Then, silence. Heavy. Dead. When the lights came back, Max was gone. No blood. No body. Nothing. Lily collapsed to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. Emily stood there, broken, breathing hard. And slowly, she turned around. The entity was closer now. Much closer. And it was alone anymore. Behind it, more shapes. More figures. Half-formed. Crawling out of the walls. Watching. Waiting. Hungry. Emily realized something then. This house wasn't haunted. It was a trap. And they were never supposed to escape. The house had gone silent again. But this silence was worse than the noise. Because now, Emily knew. They weren't alone. They were surrounded. Figures stood in every corner of the room. Half visible. Half formed. Their hollow eyes fixed on her. On Lily. Waiting. The entity that looked like Emily stepped forward again. Now, fully stable. Fully formed. Perfect. Too perfect. It smiled gently. Like a mother. You can rest now. Emily tightened her grip on Lily. No, her voice was weak, but firm. The entity's smile didn't fade. One of you has to stay. The walls began to close in. Slowly. Almost unnoticeable. The room was shrinking. The figures moved closer. Lily started crying again. Mom, I don't want to die. Emily knelt in front of her, held her face. You're not going to, she whispered. And in that moment, a decision was made. A terrible one. Emily stood up slowly. She looked at the entity, then at Lily. And then, she pushed Lily toward the window. Run when it opens, she said. But run. The entity tilted its head. Curious. Emily stepped forward, closer to it. If you want one of us, she said, her voice shaking. Take me. The room went still. The figures stopped moving. Everything paused. The entity smiled wider. Finally, the window behind Lily suddenly cracked open. A cold gust of air rushed in. Go, Emily screamed. Lily hesitated for a second, then ran. She climbed through the window, fell outside, and kept running. She didn't look back. Not once. Inside, Emily stood face to face with the thing that had become her. For a moment, they looked identical. Then, the lights went out. Morning came. Police cars surrounded the house on Willow Creek Drive. Neighbors whispered. Crowds gathered. A young officer stepped inside, flashlight shaking slightly in his hand. The house was empty. No signs of struggle. No blood. No bodies. Just silence. Until he heard it. A soft whistle, coming from upstairs. He followed it. Slowly, carefully, reached the bedroom. The door creaks open. Inside, someone stood near the window. A woman. He sighed in relief. Ma'am, are you okay? She slowly turned around. It was Emily. Perfectly normal. Smiling. Too calmly. Everything's fine, she said softly. The officer nodded. But something felt off. Where's your daughter? He asked. Emily's smile widened. Just a little too much. And then she said, she's still inside the house. The officer frowned. Ma'am, you are inside the house. Emily tilted her head slowly and whispered, no, this isn't the house anymore. Outside, Lily sat in the back of an ambulance, wrapped in a blanket, shaking, silent. A paramedic gently asked, Sweetheart, what happened in there? Lily looked at the house, her eyes filled with tears, and she whispered, That's not my mom. The camera pulls back. The house stands still, silent. But in one of the upstairs windows, something moves. Watching, waiting. If you made it to the end, you already know this wasn't just a story. Comment below, what would you do if your own mother wasn't your mother anymore? And remember, only those who survive the whole story dare to subscribe.